Hello Year 3, nice to see you again. Right, this week we're going to finish our book, The Iron Man, and we've finished the first part of the story with the Iron Man and Hogarth. So the Iron Man is now living happily in the junkyard, eating all the metal he wants and causing no more problems to the people in the village. And chapter 4 is called The Space Being and the Iron Man. So let's see what's happening and who the space being is. And it starts like this. One day there came strange news. Everybody was talking about it. Round eyes, busy mouths, frightened voices. Everybody was talking about it. One of the stars of the night sky had begun to change. This star had always been a very tiny star, of no importance at all. It had shone up there for billions and trillions and zillions of years in the constellation of Orion, that great shape of the giant hunter that strides across space in autumn and winter. In all its time, this tiny star had never changed in any way. Now, suddenly, it began to get bigger. Astronomers, peering through their telescopes, noticed it first. They watched with worried frowns. That tiny star was definitely getting bigger. And not just bigger, but bigger and bigger and bigger. Each night it was bigger. Bigger than the dog star, the large coloured twinkler at the heel of the hunter Orion. Bigger than Jupiter, the great blazing planet. Everybody could see it clearly, night after night, as it grew and grew and grew. They stared up with frightened faces, till at last it hung there in the sky over the world, blazing down, the size of the moon, a deep gloomy red. And now there could only be one explanation. That star was getting bigger because it was getting nearer and nearer and nearer and nearer. It was rushing towards the world, faster than a bullet, faster than any rocket, faster even than a meteorite. And if it hit the world at that speed, why, the whole world would simply be blasted to bits in the twinkling of an eye. It would be like an express train hitting a bowl of goldfish. No wonder the people stared up with frightened faces. No wonder the astronomers watched it through their telescopes, with worried frowns. But all of a sudden, a strange thing. The star seemed to have stopped, and there it hung, a deep and gloomy red, just the size of the moon. It got no smaller, it got no bigger. It wasn't coming any nearer, but it wasn't going away either. Now everybody tried to explain why and how this was. What had happened? What was happening? What was going to happen? And now it was that the next strange thing occurred. The astronomers noticed it first. In the middle of the giant star, a tiny black speck had appeared. On the second night, this speck was seen to be wriggling and much bigger. On the third night, you could see it without a telescope, a struggling black speck in the centre of that giant, red, gloomy star. On the fifth night, the astronomers saw that it seemed to be either a bat, or a black angel, or a flying lizard, a dreadful silhouette flying out of the centre of that giant star, straight towards the earth. What was coming out of that giant star? Each night when the astronomers returned to their telescopes to peer up, this flying horror was bigger, with slow, gigantic wing beats, with long, slow writhings of its body. It was coming down through space, outlined black against a red star. Within a few more nights, its shape had completely blotted out the red star. The nameless, immense bat angel was flying down at the earth like a great black swan. It was definitely coming straight at the earth. It took several days to cover the distance. Then, for one awful night, Its wings seemed to be filling most of the sky. The moon peered fearfully from low on the skyline, and all the people of Earth stayed up, gazing in fear at the huge black movements of wings that filled the night. Next morning it landed on Australia. Brump! The shock of its landing rolled around the earth like an earthquake, spilling teacups in London, jolting pictures off walls in California, cracking statues off their pedestals in Russia. The thing had actually landed, and it was a terrific dragon. Terribly black, terribly scaly, terribly knobbly, terribly horned, terribly fanged, terribly clawed, with vast, indescribably terrible eyes, each one as big as Switzerland. And there it sat, covering the whole of Australia, its tail trailing away over Tasmania into the sea, its foreclaws on the headlands of the Gulf of Carpentaria. Luckily, the mountains and the hills propped its belly up clear of the valleys, and the Australians could still move about in the pitch blackness under this new sky, this low, queer covering of scales. They crowded towards the light that came in along the sides. Of course, whoever had been on a mountain top when the dragon landed had been squashed flat. Nothing could be done about them. And there the horror sat, glaring out over the countries of the world. What had it come for? And what was going to happen to the world now this monstrosity had arrived? And that's where we're going to stop today. So some big questions. Where's it come from? What's going to happen next? What is it? What does it want? We will find out tomorrow. Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye bye, Year 3.